I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you know what the world needs? Yet another horror podcast. But what about a podcast solely devoted to horror comedy? What? That sounds great. Well, thank God you said that, because that's what this is. Once a week, we're going to be doing a deep dive into a horror comedy film, breaking it down. What makes it funny? What makes it scary? What makes it good? What makes it bad? Welcome to Die Laughing. Welcome back. For this first episode, we're going to do a little bit of a different format than we will in subsequent weeks. In that, for this episode, my co-host doesn't know the topic of the podcast she's agreed to, and she'll find out live on the air. I'm very excited. I hope my co-host is excited as well. I'm going to bring her on. She's one of my favorite people. Anything she says, I find entertaining. I am so giddy to bring on my co-host, Lindsey Roberts.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All the things.
As I mentioned, Lindsey has zero idea what this podcast is about. So I sent Lindsey a list of questions trying to figure out what she liked, what she disliked. Most of the questions were complete misdirects because really there was only one question in there that was really about what this podcast is about. So the list that I sent Lindsey, questions about music and movies and sports and seasons and cabbages and kings. So my first question was, what's your favorite genre of music? I also asked what her least favorite was, and she said new country. It's an auditory crisis. Listening feels like consenting to a slow cognitive decline. Amen. Chris Stapleton, you're excused. I'd also say Sturgill Simpson, you're excused. You're doing the Lord's work. I think both of them are doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. It's extraordinarily hard for me to listen to it. I just feel like they're trying to pull at your heartstrings in a really weird way, or they're trying to be patriotic. None of it feels authentic to me. And I guess that's kind of what it's so manufactured. And it feels kind of gross.
I think you're very kind in your answer. I think my answer about new country would be it's dipshit stupid.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Just music for dipshits made by dipshits. I'm sure you've heard the AI country songs.
No.
Such an easy task for AI to do. Just can shit out a country song in 5 seconds about pickup trucks and dogs and beer drinking.
Oh, it's awful.
So easy. All right, back to the list. Here we go. I asked her what her favorite sport was. I think I knew. NBA basketball, no hesitation. For Lindsey's least favorite sport, anything where the entire premise is to beat another human senseless. Boxing, UFC, all of it. It's barbarism in high definition. I'll never understand the appeal of watching someone's face turn into a cautionary tale. All right, favorite movie genre.
I'm so mad at you for this one. So mad.
This question is almost offensive, she says. I follow directors, not genres. But if you insist, romantic comedies, when done well, are perfect. Drama and comedy are neck and neck behind that. But again, it's more about who's behind the camera than what bucket it falls into. Least favorite movies, Lindsey says. Action movies, particularly anything with Michael Bay's name on it. Amen, sister. I agree. I prefer my explosions metaphorical and my dialogue above a 6th grade reading level. So thank you for your answers about music and movies and sports. And so I think it's time to let you know that this podcast is about new country and its effect on UFC fighters.
Great.
So welcome to our podcast, Smash and Grab.
I'm your girl. You chose so wisely.
So what we're going to do is we're going to watch 1 hour of UFC a week. And while we watch it, we're going to have the sound down and we're going to listen to nothing but new country. And we're just going to discuss at the end of that week.
God. So you hate me. Is that what we're talking about here?
No. This podcast is something that I want to do for a long time. And it is a genre that I'm a big fan of. And it's a genre also that is very divisive, but I think when done right is spot on perfect. And so, Lindsey Roberts, welcome to our first episode of the Die Laughing podcast, a podcast on horror comedy.
Oh my God, I'm so happy right now. Yes.
But that's what we're going to be doing. Once a week, we're going to be watching a horror comedy, horror. And then we're going to be discussing that movie.
I'm so happy right now. So it's funny because it's one of my favorites as well. I didn't mention it. I don't know why. I do love it. Horror, I think, in general, for me, as someone who is so weird and picky about my movies, and I probably should have mentioned it, for me, it is the most forgiving genre.
It is.
I will forgive plot. I will forgive writing, dialogue. I will forgive the artistry of the actual film and how it looks and feels. I will forgive all of that if you either make me laugh or scare the shit out of me. Then you've done your job. It is a genre in and of itself. That's the only genre that exists like that. It's either a shit movie or a great movie, and it either holds up or it doesn't. I don't expect any of that out of a horror film.
As a horror fan, which I am, just straight horror. I love straight horror. We have this certain varying degree of judgment. Like we know going in, like, oh, it's this type of horror film. Okay. So our inner critic kind of adjusts based on the movie. So if it's going to be like just a bizarre mind fuck, we're like, okay, plot's not going to be really thick. Dialogue's going to be kind of crap, but this is going to be really twisted.
Yeah.
And then we get so excited when a horror film is amazing in all respects because we have this fluctuating critic. So when it all aligns, it's just magic. All right, Lindsey, here we go. For the inaugural episode of Die Laughing, I have chosen National Lampoon's Class Reunion. It was released in 1982. It was National Lampoon's second film release, with the first being the beloved National Lampoon's Animal House. This is not a film that you can find on streamers, but you can find it on archive.org since it's fallen into the cracks elsewhere. There was a Blu-ray released in 2018, and you can find it online occasionally for $50. The film is essentially a parody of the movie Prom Night, with traumatized student Walter Baylor, played by Blackie Dammit, who is the father of Red Hot Chili Peppers frontman Anthony Kiedis, returning to wreak vengeance upon his school tormentors. The screenplay was written by John Hughes.
No.
Yes, well, he was still a staff writer at National Lampoon. Yes, 16 Candles, John Hughes. The Breakfast Club's John Hughes. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, John Hughes. It was to be his first solo feature-length screenplay that was made into a film.
Wow. Oh, my God. I love John Hughes.
John Hughes, who was pretty unhappy with the final product and would later tell the Chicago Tribune, "They didn't even want me around. I was shocked when I saw the movie. My screenplay had been completely butchered, and my name will nevertheless be on the credits forever." The film was directed by Michael Miller, who also directed Silent Rage with Chuck Norris, also in 1982. And he would use most of the same crew from Class Reunion and even actor Stephen Furst for that one, too. This film is definitely, on paper anyway, a comedy first with horror parody. So a comedy horror more so than a horror comedy. So let's watch National Lampoon's Class Reunion and see if it deserves its 0% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm so thrilled. I have never seen this movie. I cannot wait to watch it.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. But my only advice is temper your expectations.
Is it working? Is this turned on? Testing. 1, 2, 3.
From the makers of Animal House, National Lampoon's Class Reunion. No class has less class than this class. Coming this fall from ABC Motion Pictures and 20th Century Fox.
Oh my God. There is not a chance that is the trailer for the film that we watched. Not even a little chance.
It is 100%.
No, it's not. You're a liar. Here's my question. When do you think that trailer was shot? Before or after?
I gave this quite a bit of thought this morning. I think it was shot after, and it is a representation of the studio saying, we're going to give this the bare minimum. Send somebody out and do 2 shots and throw a bunch of shit at the wall. And that is our promotion for this film. I think the trailer that we just watched is that the studio's confidence in the success of this movie. That's what I think.
See, because I think you have all this editing, you've filmed this movie, everything's in the can. It seems like it would take less time and energy to just throw what you already have in the can, throw a few shots together, put some names on the screen, and say when it's coming out. Because it's clearly a different location. It's clearly the lighting is different. They're not even using the same class reunion banner.
There are no props from the movie, and it looks like it's shot on really bad 16 millimeter too.
Yeah.
It looks totally different.
Because it just feels like they shot it not knowing what the movie was going to be.
You know, I've seen trailers like this before that have worked. Obviously, Alien. Alien was just that one-shot trailer within space, no one can hear you scream. And then there was Maximum Overdrive when it's just Stephen King sitting down and he says, I'm going to scare the hell out of you. And yeah, he did scare the hell out of us just by his cocaine-fueled piece of shit movie. Have you ever heard any of the stories that he's told about? It was a cocaine-filled shoot, him included, because that was his directorial debut. And what a silly movie. And obviously, all of their focus was on cocaine and not on the movie itself.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah. So I've seen trailers like that work before, but I think this trailer is an excellent representation of the movie itself in maybe an idea that wasn't totally fleshed out. So they were coming off a lot of pressure after the success of Animal House. So you would think that coming off of that success that they would be swinging big. And it doesn't feel like they were swinging big. It feels like they were kind of playing it safe. Animal House, I haven't seen it in years, but I saw it enough to just be storage in my brain from when I was a kid that it was a lot of locations, a lot of shots, a lot of jokes, a lot of funny characters, a lot of flesh out characters. And you would think they would have kept that standard that high. But let's go. Let's jump into it before we start picking it apart. But let's address the elephant in the room right off the bat.
Okay.
And that is the script.
Oh boy.
Yeah. How about this? So when you think back to John Hughes movies, so yeah, albeit this was his first produced screenplay, he has essentially disowned it.
Right. This is interesting. You know, a lot of things that I read said that John Hughes claims that he was fired. And I was like, well, that's an interesting word. So was he? Or does he just not want to be associated with this movie? I don't know. Maybe he was, but it said John Hughes claimed he was fired.
I also saw a blurb where he said they just didn't want me on set. But then again, that's most films with the writer. And like, you've done your job, now get the fuck out of here.
I also read something, I don't know if this is right, but it says he's the uncredited girl with the bag on her head in the car. I read that's John Hughes. I don't know if that's right or not.
I hope that's right.
But if that's true, that would make my fucking day.
That is pretty fantastic.
Do you think he even, like, if we were to say, John Hughes, we want to talk to you about your catalog, we'd love to discuss Class Reunion. I mean, this was 1982, right?
He's dead.
Right. No, I'm just saying. But if
Lindsey,
you
can't talk to the dead.
I know. Well, you can through a medium. So what if we talked to a medium and we said, I want to talk to John Hughes? But do you know what I mean? Like, if you were able to talk to him.
That's not a bad use. Like, you only had one use of a medium. That's not a bad use of it.
That's not a bad use of it. Yeah, I would agree with that. Do you think he would even want to talk about it this many years later? Like, do you think he just never wanted to talk about Class Reunion? It was like that bad of an experience?
I think it was such a blip in his career that he wouldn't want to talk about it. I tried to find some interviews with him, and I think there was one, and he just really, that's pretty much what he said. But yeah, they butchered my script. They didn't really want me around. But who knows? It's your first script turned into a movie. I don't see you not going to the premiere and stuff like that. So I'm sure John Hughes, there was some excitement in his life to go to the movie and then see, oh my God, what a thing they've done here. See, I just call it a thing. I just want to want to reserve my opinions until we get a little deeper into it. But let's talk a little bit about the movie. So all these classmates in 1972 are all sitting around a campfire. They're all high school students, and all of the actors, of course, look like they're in their 30s or 40s,
like you do already. In all 80s movies.
And all 80s movies. They like no Tim Matheson in here to be ageless. So they're all
or William Zabka.
Or William Zabka. Just a bunch of people that already look 40. So they set it up with Blackie Damit's character, which again we mentioned that's Anthony Kiedis' dad, playing a character Walter Baylor, I think it is. Bob, the main antagonist, tells Walter that the hottest girl in school wants to have a little go with him, but she's very modest, so he asks him to put on this paper sack on his head. So Walter excitedly takes the paper sack, and they've been trying to get him drunk at the beginning too. And I love it. It's that classic low budget campfire scene too, where
everyone's in
like,
the same frame.
like a choir facing one
totally.
direction.
Yes.
So then Walter goes over to a car and we see him getting a handy from another person with a sack on their head. And that's when we see all the car headlights turn on and all the classmates have set him up. Bob yanks the bag off of Lackey Dammit's head, Walter Baylor, that is, and he screams. He pulls the bag off of the person who's giving him the handy, and he screams. And that way we know it's definitely not who he thought it was going to be.
Right. You don't see the person's face that he's in the car with, but you can tell it's really bad. And you're like, oh, that is kind of intriguing. Like, I was like, ooh, who is it?
Yeah. So that was that. And then we go straight into the opening credits.
Straight into, 10 years later.
Yeah, the opening credits sequence under a song by Gary U.S. Bonds.
Yes. That I spent all week singing, and I'm really mad at you about.
Class reunion.
The whole time. I was like, damn it, Bart.
So the credit sequence is a high school yearbook. So
Right.
we see all their phases. We see the actors. See who's playing them, but there's also all of the most likely to yada yada.
Yeah, all
like
the superlatives.
the blind girl most likely to get hit by a car. Even those, just none of them landed.
No, it all misses the mark. Like, because they do the same thing at the end of the movie, right? They show all the people in the superlatives.
The exact same
one.
The exact same song.
And after watching the whole film, I'm like, oh, that was that person? That didn't even look like that person. I would have known that. Some of it doesn't even connect. You don't even connect it to the correct person.
Yeah.
It's not, not well done.
And you know what you find out after you watched it? It doesn't even really matter.
It doesn't.
So then we open up at the school, Lindsey Borden High.
I can't talk about it. I died. I'm sorry. I really appreciated that. I love that about the movie. I thought that was hilarious that they had it take place at Lindsey Borden High School and that there is no place in the film where it is talked about or referenced, or besides when they say it, right, at Borden High, they would shorten it and call it Borden High a lot. But like just the obviousness of it was something that they left completely alone. And I appreciated that. And that the slogan and the logo of the school has two axes crossing. And then when they're on the stage and there's the portrait of Lizzie behind them and she's got an axe in her hand and she's just pointing to it. I'm dead. Like, I was like, I love this. I absolutely love it that they did that. I thought that was really funny.
I thought the movie needed 20 more of those.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Completely non sequitur, odd jokes.
Yes. Yeah. And there are a few of them in there that you're like, yep, I need that. That's what I need.
The other one that comes to mind was the medieval science lab, when the character Gary is looking for weapons and he's going through the classrooms and it says medieval science lab. And he goes in there and there's like knights of armor. And for no reason, I thought, now see, you could have done that a lot. And made it way funnier, because then it's almost like Airplane.
There was a lot in there that felt like Airplane to me.
In the attempted tone, I think it's similar to Airplane. But Airplane, unlike a lot of films in the 80s, knew the tone going in, and we're insistent about that tone, which is, so we're going to get all these old stars that used to play these straight characters, and we're going to have them play it fucking straight, and it's going to be hilarious. They're not going to wink at the camera. They're going to play it straight, and it's going to be funny.
That was one of the things I really appreciated about this movie, that these characters are in it. You know, they don't play into the joke. They play it straight.
There's one, someone literally winks at the camera.
Oh, no, it's the vampire. When she says it's that time of the month, and he's like...
He licks his lips.
Yeah.
Breaking that wall is sort of... it's got to be good. It's got to be worth it, and not Mr. Roper. Whereas Airplane nailed the tone. That's why it's an iconic film. Hilarious. They knew the tone going in. This is all over the map. So Bob, he's the asshole character, the main antagonist of Walter. He's played by Garrett Graham, who's mostly known as Beef from Phantom of the Paradise. So he's grown up to become a successful yacht salesman. He's the guy who, that's funny.
It is.
I actually a couple of times started thinking about like what a yacht salesman's life would be like.
Right. It's so random. It was really, I did appreciate that. I was like, did he just say yacht?
So like a yacht salesman probably has their own yacht, right? And he was like, you got to show off your goods and, make people envious. So he shows up with his fiance, played by Jacqueline Zeman, who is best known as playing Bobby Spencer on General Hospital for over 30 years.
Some of the people in there, I was blown away. I was like, what are you doing in here?
I wish there had been more of those. Like Michael Lerner is the one who Michael Lerner's in this. Michael Lerner from Bart and Fink, the head of Capitol Pictures.
Anne Ramsey.
Yeah, Anne Ramsey as well. The sausage ones make me choke.
I love her and everything, right? Goonies, Throw Mama from the Train.
Oh, yeah.
She is exactly who you need her to be in every film. I miss characters like that. You're never going to catch a film with somebody that looks and acts like Anne Ramsey in it today. You're not.
No, you're not. I'm sure you know this, but the reason she spoke that way was because she had cancer and had a lot of her tongue removed and a lot of her jaw removed. And that's why, her speech is like that in Throw Mama from the Train, because they had removed a large part of her mouth and then still playing comedy that way,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I enjoyed seeing her as the lunch lady. That made me happy.
We needed about 6 more Anne Ramseys, just peppered here and there. They tried to fit in as many character types as they could in the class. There was the deaf, blind, crazy seductress played by Mira Small.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that voice sounds familiar, and I had to look it up. She was best known as Candy. She was one of the women that Jack Nicholson sneaks into the asylum in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Stop.
She was the one that was dancing with Billy Bibbit, and then Billy Bibbit, I think they end up having sex because when Nurse Ratched comes in the morning, Billy Bibbit's got his pants off, and then that was her.
That is so funny. I did not realize that. Well, she's got sunglasses on, so
she also was on several episodes of MASH as Hawkeye's love interest. But so we've got the yacht salesman and his fiance. We've got blind. I guess she's deaf. She's wearing headphones, but she can hear sometimes and can't. I didn't really understand that.
Yeah.
Did you?
No, I know. It just didn't read. Like sometimes she could hear people really clearly, and then there were times people had to yell at her, and I'm like, "What, can you hear or not? I don't understand."
And her CNI dog vanished about 20 minutes into the movie, and it never
did.
came back.
That was the best trained thing in the film, right? He sat in the corner in that one scene and was like poking his head out. I was like, the dog is doing a killer job.
That's where this movie's budget went to. The dog trainer. Now we know. We had a character who she wore leg braces in high school, but she has since sold her soul to the devil for not only the ability to walk, but to breathe fire and blow wind.
Can I just be really honest with you right now?
Yes.
I'm obsessed with her. I was obsessed with her the whole movie. I loved every single thing about her. I realized it was utterly and totally ridiculous that she was possessed by the devil and everybody just seemed to be A-okay with it. I kept thinking if I were in this movie and, if it was real life, I would just be following her everywhere because she's probably the only one who could actually take out Walter with her fire breathing and all of this craziness. She was hilarious. I thought the relationship between her and Miriam Flynn was brilliant. I loved watching the two of them nag after each other. I loved her. I loved that character. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I loved every time she was on the screen. That first scene where they see each other at the bar and she lights her cigarette with her finger. And then they have that, it's very clear that they didn't like each other in high school. And so they have this dialogue, right? And they're very snarky to each other. And the laughing, when the two of them laugh, and they
just keep laughing.
They just keep laughing. And they laugh at the exact same time for the exact same length of time in the same tone. And they're like, they do it 3 times. And then she just walks off. I was like, I need this in every part of this film. Like that, I almost had to pause it. I was laughing so hard.
She is by far, to me anyway, the most memorable character in the movie.
Oh,
and the one
for
I
sure.
remembered because I hadn't seen the movie in, I don't know, decades. But that was the one person I always remembered. Like there was a possessed person in the movie. It's like, oh yeah, now I know why, because she stole every scene she was in.
She's foaming at the mouth and she grows horns, Bart Shannon. I was so here for it. I loved her. I thought because she was so wackadoo and she leaned so into it, man. She was like, I'm going there. I am going there.
And she was great.
She was great.
I don't recall seeing her in anything else ever.
Zane Busby. That's her name. I was obsessed with her.
Yeah, but she was fantastic. And then let's talk about the other odd horror troped character, the vampire. He was played by Jim Stahl, he came from Second City.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was a hat on a hat. You didn't need a possessed person and a vampire in the same class.
1,000%.
One would have been fine. And we don't find out he's a vampire until halfway through the movie. And then they start kind of developing his character halfway, 2/3 through the movie.
To no benefit. The weird part is that they show him at the beginning and he smiles. And so you see his teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you just wear those? Is that fake teeth? And then it's just completely dropped. And you're like, okay. It just didn't make any sense. And then they pick it back up and all of a sudden give him these like, what is it, like 5 minutes or 6 minutes of this whole story. And you're like, why? Edit, cut, don't need it.
Yeah, it was almost like an afterthought character. Like, we need one more horror thing. Hi, how about a vampire? It would have been better with a werewolf, but then again, I guess we already had one transformation character with the possessed.
Right.
She sold her soul to the devil, but she was also possessed at times. Kind of a little fluctuating on what her deal was.
But Chuck Berry.
I think it's time to address Chuck Berry.
Okay.
So within the first 10 minutes of the movie, Bob, the yacht salesman, has booked Chuck Berry for the high school reunion. And then we get Chuck Berry in one of his most uninspired 3-song medleys you will ever see. Even Chuck Berry is like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here?
You can tell he's thinking that. When it says in the credits, special appearance by Chuck Berry, I was like, not a chance that's true.
No, see, that would have been funny. That would have been something that they needed to do with the yearbook. Special appearance by Chuck Berry, and Chuck Berry doesn't show up in the movie.
Doesn't show.
That would have been an extra joke. But they needed time to fill. So that's I guess that's why we did a 3-song montage. That was the first time I'd ever heard My Ding-a-Ling.
Yeah. And the best part is that they talked him into doing his hold the guitar and scoot across the stage.
His duck walk, yeah.
But they didn't show his legs. It wasn't a full frame. You barely even see the whole guitar. It was like a medium shot. Well, I want to see the whole thing.
This was 80s Chuck Berry. He could have said, like, I can't really do that anymore. My legs don't do it like that. And they're like, how about we shoot it from the waist up? He's like, okay.
Yeah, it could be.
Can you just push me on a dolly?
Yeah. right. That's fair. That's fair.
Let's talk about the first kill, if you don't mind.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about an airplane moment, right?
Oh, exactly. And I think this was 82. So, yeah.
Airplane was 80?
Yeah, I think it was 80. There's no reason for Little Milt Friedman to be a Hare Krishna because there's no joke about who he was in high school and now he's Hare Krishna, and now it's funny because we just jump right in and the character Gary, who's the nobody that no one can remember his name, apparently they were close friends in high school, and even Little Milt Friedman can't remember who he is, and he's a Hare Krishna. And he seems like a non-practicing Hare Krishna because he keeps slapping Gary on the face. That character was very odd and gets offed right away. He's kill number 1, but he was played by Steve Tracy, best known for being the husband of Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie.
Oh my gosh, come on.
Yep.
It's just out of nowhere he was a Hare Krishna. I was like, well, this just feels like they were like, well, Airplane put a Hare Krishna in a movie, so let me go ahead and put one of those in here and have it just make no sense at all.
Yeah, to me it felt like, hey, we've got a Hare Krishna outfit over here. Should we make the character a Hare Krishna? And we're never going to mention it. We're just going to have him be a Hare Krishna, and then he dies right away.
So it won't matter.
But yeah, he gets strangled with a phone cord in almost total darkness, so you can't see the kill.
Yeah.
Trying to use the phone, and he says something like, I'd get better reception with 2 cans and a string, and then Walter says, I got your string, and strangles him.
That's that. But I did love him swinging across the stage.
Yeah.
I did like that. I was like, okay, I'm here for this, behind Miriam Flynn going across the stage behind her. I thought that was a good gag. And then she turns around and it fucking hits her and she, bam, is down on the ground.
All right. So at this point, we've had a murder.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty quickly, out of nowhere, Michael Lerner shows up as a doctor from the Hospital of the Criminally Insane. So there's another odd scene. So he steps up on stage and announces to all the classmates that he is the doctor from the criminally insane and that he doesn't even say anything else. They all go crazy and start running for the exits, and then he just steps off the stage.
Right. Yeah. I was like, huh? He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything. He just announced who he is and where he's from, and they go crazy and they start trying to flee. And then he steps off stage, and it's one of those low budget, we need to shoot this shot. You two stand against this wall. So he steps into frame. The character Bob steps into frame. And that's where he says, Walter Baylor has escaped, and he's coming here to kill all of you. And it's like, well, why didn't you just say that on stage?
Right. And then he says one of the best lines in the movie, "Are you a religious man?" "Certainly not. I'm an Episcopalian."
We needed 100 more of those.
100 more.
It was missing jokes.
There were some really great one-liners, and the ones that were in there were really good, but there was far too few of them.
What was the other one? It's time to pipe the pear?
Yes.
Instead of pay the piper?
I died when he said that. I also really liked, was it Gary was in the food line, and he was like, wow, this food looks almost good enough to eat. Just delivered really well. And then somebody later said, I can't remember which one it was. Some lady said, I don't know what's worse, this reunion or my marriage. I enjoyed that line. I thought that was funny. Anyway, there were some great one-liners. There just wasn't enough of them.
It was all about just over-the-top performances at times, especially by Stephen Furst, who Bluto was John Belushi, Flounder from Animal House.
Animal House, yeah.
He was just playing this total slob character, no redeeming qualities, but also not really anything funny. Wasn't doing anything funny.
This may be an unpopular opinion. Maybe you're going to say we're stopping the podcast now. I can't believe it. But I really did not enjoy Blackie Dammit in this movie.
I think we witnessed why Blackie Dammit's career did not take off the way I'm sure he had hoped after this. He's a hard person to look at.
Yeah, you're right. He's a hard person to look at. Maybe that's why they had a bag over his head most of the movie. But he was so incredibly over the top the entire film. It was hard to look at him, and it was also hard to watch him.
Yeah.
He was so intense the whole time. I was like, I can't watch this. Really, it was really off-putting.
I think the fact that that's all he gave us probably means that's all he could give. But yeah, I felt the same way. He just giggled and laughed, and then would have a menacing look, and that was it. That was his range.
Yeah, but Stephen Furst was the same way.
Yeah. That Stephen Furst, that could have been played by anyone, and probably better.
Mm-hmm.
After this, I think we go straight in, pretty close into the second kill, just like a few minutes later, and that is unfortunately Anne Ramsey, the lunch lady. I thought this scene was funny, but it would have been funnier if, when Blackie Dammit's character is trying to kill the lunch lady, which, why is he trying to kill the lunch lady? She didn't have anything to do with the prank.
Right. She's not on his list.
She's not on his list.
Maybe Anne Ramsey was like, I'm going to give you one day.
Yeah.
All right.
Give me the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So you're going to have to kill me off or something, because I'm not sticking around.
I'm going to be in the Goonies in 2 years. Earlier, we see her cutting, it looks like peach cobbler with a chainsaw.
She's cutting it with a chainsaw because she can't get it out of the pan. She can't get it out of the cookie sheet. And so she takes the chainsaw and just is slicing it with the cookie sheet in tow.
I think this is one of those, we need justification for this, and this is where I think it was the wrong thing to do. When he's trying to kill her in the kitchen, he's grabbing knives out of the knives that hang over the stoves in the kitchen area, and she keeps disarming the knives from him in this high speed, like she all of a sudden knows karate. And then he reaches up in all of the utensils and pulls out the chainsaw. Imagine how funny that would have been had she not been cutting the peach cobbler with the chainsaw, and just in the kitchen utensils, there happened to be a chainsaw in there. Now that would have been very Airplane-ish, where just, oh, there's a chainsaw. What do you know? You guys have a chainsaw in your kitchen for no reason that we're not seen previously. And so he goes at her with a chainsaw, which we assume that is how
she meets her fate. Yeah, I did kind of like this scene of all the scenes of him killing people. I think what I liked most about it is that Blackie Dammit refused to unclutch his purse on his shoulder. Did you notice? He had his purse on the whole time. He was just clutching onto that shoulder bag. He wasn't going to let it go. It was
his whoopee.
I think he finally set it down at one point, but he just holding on to his purse, like fighting the lunch lady. That I did appreciate.
You know, it could have been that Blackie Dammit was such a bad actor that they said, well, you're doing stupid things with your hands. Give him a purse.
Give him a purse.
Blackie, hold this purse. Why? That doesn't make sense. I can't show my range. Just hold the purse. And then that's it. That's it for the kills. And we're like 30 minutes in at this point. I had to make sure, but yeah, that's it. That's our 2 kills.
Yeah.
Later, Stephen First gets hit in the head with a hammer, but he doesn't kill him. He just knocks him unconscious, which
Right.
I guess they're saying, this character is so valuable, we can't kill him. He needs to just be injured so we can keep him around to the end of the film.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have seen him die. So at this point, Michael Lerner's character has said that Walter Baylor's here to kill you guys. So we need to split up and find him, a very Scooby-Doo moment. And so they all, the main characters decide to go searching for Walter Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
So they all split up, the 2 stoners, which, you know, I think even as a kid, I wasn't a fan of the stoners.
It's so used. It's just over and over. I mean, how many joints can we smoke? You know, you're opening your jacket and it's just joint after joint after joint. And I don't know, it's just overplayed in the film. But I did like his pen. I thought if I was on set, I always steal one thing when I do a show, or if I'm on a set, I always steal one thing. And so I have like a combination of like all of these little things from shows and films that I've done. I would have asked to keep the Nixon is the one pin. He's wearing a pin on his jacket that says Nixon is the one. That made me laugh. Anyway, that was the only thing that I found or appreciated about the stoners.
The one in the army jacket?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but he was on Seinfeld once as this terrible stand-up comic that Jerry gets stuck in the cab with. The other guy, a lot of MASH crossover. He was in an episode of MASH. Michael Lerner was in an episode of MASH as the dentist, and the actress who plays the blind woman. She was also in MASH. But here is something that was really weird. So when they all split up to go try to find Blackie, Walter, that couple that sneaks off to the theater and has sex in grass skirts and lays.
Yeah.
So they find the theater and they're walking around amongst the set and they're having sex, frolicking on stage. And then we see Walter see them from the back row and breaks off a seat back. And then we never see them again.
Nope.
They don't show up in the dance sequence at the end and they don't get killed.
There is mention of them. They were like, what happened to the theater geeks? And they're like, well, I think they got killed. There is a very small mention of it, I think.
Okay.
The crazy part was that everywhere they went, it was the kind of set that I was like, I would not want to walk around this set. It looked gross.
In a good way. It was
in a good way. Yeah.
very well done. Yeah.
It was. I was like, this set is gross and also amazing. I mean, there was shit everywhere, papers everywhere, water coming down. Everything looked disheveled. Like, it looked like they were having a class reunion at a school that had been shut down for 50 years and the building was about to be demolished or something. Like, that's what it looked like. And then all of a sudden they get to this theater and there's a full fucking set.
And all the park cans still work.
Yeah.
They were all lit up.
Yeah. Everything's working at the theater. I mean, listen, there's something to be said for that, right? But then they're putting the costumes on and then he comes back and he puts his hands on the chair, breaks the chair. I'm like, why is he mad at them?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's mad at everybody, right? But like,
I guess maybe what they're trying to say, maybe not John Hughes, but someone else who took a dump on his script. Like, they're getting to have sex with someone other than their sister.
Did we talk about that? Did we say that that's who was underneath the...
No, we didn't. We didn't.
I don't think we did.
We just mentioned that he had got a handy from his sister. Yeah, that's who the reveal was. It was his sister, which is also played by Blackie Dammit.
Right.
With lipstick on.
Right. And so that's the thing, right? That you realize, and they do tell you that pretty early on. He pulls the sack over her and it's Blackie Dammit dressed as a woman. And then you realize he's made out with his twin sister or gotten a handy from his twin sister. And that's the thing. Blackie Dammit is dressed as a schoolgirl the entire movie.
Yep.
Hairy legs, short bobby socks, little saddle Oxford shoes, and a plaid uniform that looks like he's just left a private school. That's what he's wearing the whole movie.
Yep. Other than I did appreciate he had a sack for all seasons.
He did. He had a wall of different sacks. Some of them had lipstick on and mascara. Some of them he has daytime and his nighttime look sacks. I appreciated that.
His Sunday go to meeting sacks.
It felt very Silence of the Lambs, Buffalo Bill kind of because Gary stumbles into his lair, right, where he sees all of the headshots of the core people that he wants to kill. And Gary, I love, is on like a little side area, like he's still an afterthought in wanting to be killed. He's like in
Almost
front
like
of
he's like, oh, I forgot about him.
I forgot about Gary. Let's kill Gary too. And it's like he's right by the guillotine. Anyway, he finds his lair, and so there's this like wall of like paper sacks, and they all look different, and it's just real fucking weird.
This is that part where even for this movie, I thought it just became a fiasco when they're all just going through the classrooms searching for Walter. But then this is where we get to see the character who is possessed by the devil break them through one classroom to the other by blowing fire from her mouth and burning a hole into the wall.
Yes. And they're like, good on you. Thanks. That's awesome.
And that's it.
Cool. They don't care.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the beginning of the movie, I was like, I am into this. The jokes were landing. I'm seeing Miriam Flynn and Anne Ramsey and Lizzie Borden High. And the whole first like 30 minutes of the movie, you know, it was really colorful. Like the gym was really colorful. It's like banners of yellow and red and purple, and the introduction of some of the characters that are instantly, which that was kind of the part that did feel very John Hughes. You have the popular kid and the dork and the person that's not memorable and the, you know what I mean? So you saw a little bit of some of that John Hughesness, but then there's one-liners, and then Michael Lerner came in, you know, and when he and Bob are standing on either side and they're back in their original clump, I don't know if I thought that was kind of cool. Like at the beginning of the movie, they're all in a clump by the fire, right? And they're all in the same shot. Yes. And then when they're back in the gym, they're back in that same clump. And you have Bob on one side and Michael on the other.
Just to be clear, when you say clump, we're talking about Eddie Murphy and Nutty Professor, right?
Correct.
The clump?
Yes,
okay.
Correct. That's the clump. I'm caught up.
That is the clump of which you speak.
That's the clump of which I speak. And they're on either side of the clump, and Bob will say something and all of their heads go to Bob. And then Michael Lerner will say something and all their heads go to Michael Lerner. All at the same time. The timing and the comedy of that. All of these little things, I'm like, this is a great movie. This is starting off really solid. And then they kind of get to this part in the movie where we are, right? Them splitting up Scooby-Doo style and trying to find him. And the movie just loses every single bit of momentum that it had. I was like, I want to fall asleep now. I don't care about this part of the movie. I don't care about this.
Yeah, again, tone. It wasn't enough horror for it to be a horror film, and it wasn't enough comedy to be a comedy. So it just fell smack dab in the middle.
There's no suspense really at all. So it just completely failed in that. It doesn't land it as a comedy because the gags are too scattershot. Instead of it being like a true horror comedy, like American Werewolf in London or something, which was 81, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it just, I don't know, it just played more like a sloppy sketch show, if that makes sense. That occasionally remembers they need to pretend that somebody's been murdered, every once in a while. And so I'm like, why would National Lampoon, why would they do that? Why don't you just stick to what you're good at and be a comedy? Because it was a popular craze, right? The comedy horror thing, right? It was being done and it was being done well. But if you can't do it, don't try to do it.
During a span of in the early 80s, I think there were 4 horror spoof movies in just a few year span. One of which I think was the most popular was Student Bodies, which Student Bodies, not the best film in the world, but I think it manages to balance that comedy horror spoof much better than this.
They wanted a piece of that pie, right? They wanted to be the part of the slasher craze. They wanted to be a part of the, they wanted to maintain their National Lampoon sort of brand. And they wanted to be a part of this raunch comedy that like Airplane was doing. So they just said, let's just make one movie where we do all of that.
Yeah.
But they didn't do any of it well.
They didn't do any of it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you set out to make a horror comedy and you fail at both.
Yeah.
It's tough. So to summarize what you said, you liked the beginning and then it fell apart. So if Lindsey Roberts could paraphrase a Parliament Funkadelic song, it would be, "We want the clump. We got to have the clump.
Gotta have the clump.
We want the clump."
Absolutely. I wanted more of those moments, right? Where we're back and forth and the laughing at the bar. To me, that's gold. That's the kind of comedy I want to watch. I want to see a portrait. And by the way, that portrait of Lizzie Borden, huge portrait, spanned the entire back part of the stage that they were on. Chuck Berry performing in front of it and just with Lizzie Borden holding an axe, just pointing at it. That was glorious, you know what I mean? I was like, I love this. And then it just took a fucking nosedive.
Yeah.
And the film just dies.
Yeah. Let's get to the big reveal.
Yeah.
It didn't help at all. So I can't remember which character pulls the mask off, or he reveals it to, but
the woman, the
beauty,
the
one that he thought was responsible for the prank, and she said she wasn't even there, she didn't know anything about it, and she found out about it later. But she was the character that he thought he was getting a handy from, and not his sister. It's Michael Lerner pulls off his mask to reveal that he is Walter Baylor. Totally different body type, totally different accent. Michael Lerner has a thick New York accent. Blackie Dammit has no whatever the fuck that accent is, Southern California. Yeah, just a ridiculous reveal.
So bad.
But not even funny.
No, it wasn't. They're not even the same height. They're not even the same body type. There's no wig that comes off. It looks like
There's no wig.
his face. Oh my God, it's so bad.
So you're Walter Baylor. You went into a mental hospital because of this prank. You escape. You go to your class reunion to kill your classmates. Tell me the thought process behind, you know what I should do? I should also create a secondary character where I am the doctor from the hospital of the criminally insane and let everybody know that I'm on the loose to kill them, and then have them all go look for me. If you're Walter Baylor, what the fuck are you thinking, Walter?
Yeah, I think the missed opportunity just in the filmmakers, right, is that actually was really smart. But I think that that's something that you let the audience in on day one. And so you know that Michael Lerner is Walter Baylor. And so when he comes in, all he has to do is lure all these people in one by one.
Yeah.
And kill them. That's all he has to do. I mean, that the split up didn't need to happen. He's like, hey, listen, you know, I've got an idea.
Can I talk to you a sec?
I want to, yeah. Or just get a couple of them together and be like, listen, we need to go over here. I want to look at this area, you know, and then just slash them, kill them.
Yeah.
Right. And then come back and be like, oh my God, it was the most awful thing. I need more help. They're over here. Right. Like, let the audience in on that and then use that to kill everybody. I don't understand.
Made no sense at all.
Yeah.
Other than give them an actor with a higher profile. I think that's about it, because he was the most recognizable person. So this is when the classmates fight back. The possessed character, we find out not only can she blow fire, but she can blow wind, and blows heavy wind to blow Walter against a wall.
Great use of it. Good job.
Great use of it. Yep.
Great use of it, Dolores.
All it took was a little wind. A mighty
wind.
No, and this is when Blackie Dammit really shines. Because all he does is scream and run around with his hands waving and saying, get me out of here, get me out of here. Because
the wind was blown on him.
So stressful. And then it becomes a very slapsticky, you know, he keeps opening doors, and then there's Stephen First with the hammer, and he boops him on the head. And so it's making him even crazier, and he's got to get out of here. He just got to get out of here.
Which I guess they're justifying by saying he's just insane. And so, yeah, but I mean, he doesn't fight back at all. He's just running away from all these classmates.
Yeah, being Blackie Dammit, just making a lot of loud noises and making faces, and
his hands waving in the air, and
crazy like you just don't care. Yeah, that's all on Blackie, I think.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So then he climbs up into the rafters of the gym and is hiding from them up there, scared, crying. And that's when all of the classmates come and they try to talk him down. Bob, the main antagonist, even apologizes. And then Walter slips and falls and Bob catches him. And they all cheer. And immediately it's over.
It's over.
And we go to a dance sequence.
Yeah. They're like, we're sorry for what we've done. And for those that are left that you haven't murdered. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And they just start dancing.
So they start dancing. No mention of Walter's sister, where she is, what happened to her. The last sequence of the movie is them dancing a sort of Soul Train dance line style towards camera so they can all say their last line towards camera. There's 2 marriage proposals by these characters that have just met in the last couple of hours. And then Walter dances down the aisle in a straitjacket with 2 orderlies behind him. And then the vampire character says, hey, everybody, let's do the Walter. And so everyone starts hopping around like their arms are tied with a straitjacket, which I thought was kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. Yeah, it is kind of funny. And then that kind of takes us out.
And right back into the yearbook montage.
That's right. And class reunion and that glorious song. And then you get to read some of the superlatives now in hindsight, right? And you're like, oh, okay. Some of them made sense. And some of them absolutely did not.
Never.
So I've got a question. The Hughes factor. Can you see any of John Hughes's later brilliance? Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, hiding under this mess? Or is it just completely lost in the rewrites?
Honestly, I don't. I mean, you mentioned earlier, the different school characters, the shy kid, the person that nobody remembers, and the arrogant one, the geek, that. But I think if you're doing any school story, you're going to put those in there because that's part of our experience of being in school, just the different type of people. Otherwise, everyone's exactly the same. So I think that's coincidental that like with Breakfast Club, you've got to have different characters because that's what creates the conflict.
Right.
Like even Uncle Buck, there's so many like just touching moments in Uncle Buck and funny jokes in Uncle Buck.
Right.
And you can just grab any film of John Hughes and it's just,
so rich.
It's that Bart and Fig feeling. It's the John Hughes feeling.
Yeah.
I feel 0 of that in this film.
Yeah.
None of it. It could have been written by anybody.
If I did not know that it was written by John Hughes, right, and I watched the film, and you said to me after, put 20 writers down on paper. I'll give you 50. I'll give you 100. I guarantee you John Hughes would not be among those 100 names. Not a chance.
Not at all. Nope.
Okay, so does horror comedy work here?
No.
Where does it land if there was a horror comedy scale?
This on the scale of horror comedy, the needle would need to be pegged heavier into the comedy, despite there being very little of it. It's still in the comedy category because that was the attempt. There are jokes. There are a lot of Second City people in here, a lot of funny people. So I think this is like comedy on the right, horror on the left. It's almost pegged all the way to the right. The reason I liked it when I was 12 is because I saw more of the horror than I do now. I love the Lizzie Borden stuff. Love it's a spooky old school. Love that a character is possessed. Again, no need for a vampire character. But I think it's definitely more in the comedy camp than the horror camp.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree with that. The problem is it doesn't even really do comedy super well.
No, it doesn't.
But it definitely would be on the comedy part of the meter, for sure.
Even though the film fails at being a really funny film, there's something about it atmospherically that I root for. And did when I was young, and I still do. It's like you were talking about it the first 10 or 15 minutes. You're all in at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's Lizzie Borden. Hi, that's funny. Oh, this place is scary looking. So it's like a castle. Okay, yeah, I get it. We're all in. Let's go.
It's Clue. It's Clue.
It's Clue. It's a low budget Clue.
And then, okay, so then I kind of want to talk about the best and the worst gags. What do you think the best gags were? What do you think the worst gags were?
What I think is the best gag, and I'd forgotten about it because it's been decades, but as soon as I saw it, I remembered appreciating it as a kid, and I did this time even more. My favorite scene in the entire movie is the impromptu choreographed cover of Stop in the Name of Love by the three women who are trying to lighten the mood after their classmate's been murdered, and they just do a great version of Stop in the Name of Love and with kick-ass dance moves. Loved it.
Bart, I did not like that.
Oh my God.
And it's because all I'm watching is the blonde in the center, and she has zero rhythm. Zero. It's so bad, in fact, that there are times when the girls on the other side of her are like, they don't even cut it out.
Maybe this is why I liked it so much. I completely ignored the woman in the middle because on each side, they were doing great.
They do great.
They were synchronized.
So you did the right thing. Go back and watch it and just watch
Just look at her.
It's very difficult to watch.
She's not a great actress.
No.
She's pretty. And she was a model. She did like Fantasy Island and Love Boat. I think those were like her claim to fame. But yeah, I didn't because I'd never paid attention to the actress from General Hospital before. But I thought she was great in this.
She is great in this. She is. And the two of them are great. She is never on time. She is never in the correct timing of it. And it's so funny.
We'll do this. We'll both go back and watch that scene. I will only look dead center and you will only look on the sides.
And then I will love it.
And I will hate it.
Right. But yeah, I and I've already kind of talked about some of my favorite. I mean, I live for those moments of like being at the bar laughing that I was talking about earlier between Miriam Flynn and Zane Busby when the two of them are standing at the bar and they have that laughing moment, or like the head turns in the clump, the Blackie Dammit holding his purse to kill the lunch lady. The fact that it's Lizzie Borden and nobody even mentions it or talks about it and just leave it. We're going to leave this nugget right there. And we're just going to let you enjoy this nugget. It's that kind of stuff. That I needed a lot more of all of that. Those were my favorite moments. I guarantee you we have the same worst. I would bet we do.
I think the Michael Lerner reveal was just stupid. I think Blackie Dammit was terrible. I think Stephen First was awful.
Mm-hmm.
As for something that didn't land, the vampire, unnecessary. Boy, I'm listing almost the whole movie now.
God, the vampire bit I just thought was, I don't know, kind of gross. It just felt like a rejected Saturday Night Live skit or something.
Yeah.
Even though it's not great, does this film reflect early 80s trends?
Yes, I think it does reflect 80s trends, especially as we talked about the fact that for like a 2 or 3 year span, there were several horror spoofs happening. I can't remember why. I think at the beginning they were going over awards for classmates.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Isn't that fun?
Which,
fun?
I think I told you that my sister and I still say that to this day, and I didn't know where I got it from. I know Jan Hooks used to say something similar, and so did Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, that was great. Every time they were bringing people up on the stage, the best bit was the guy that they were like, "Has anybody seen what's his name?" I can't remember the guy's name. And they're like, I bet you haven't, because he's a woman now raising 3 beautiful children. And he just stands up in the audience and it is just full on a man. Beard, the whole thing, just with a dress on. And they're like, oh, great. And everybody starts clapping and Miriam Flynn's on stage going, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? And I love that. All right. My last question was sort of around the cult value of the film. Is it worth watching today as a so bad it's interesting oddity, or should this movie stay completely buried?
That's where it's tough. I think we both enjoy watching movies for the sake of them being bad. And this movie maybe even fails at being bad, which sucks. I think if you were to recommend this movie, I think you would say, hey, watch these 4 horror spoofs and see which one is the least terrible. But yeah, it's a shame because no one went on to be a superstar in this movie. This is not like a Nightmare on Elm Street where like you got to watch a Johnny Depp.
Just randomly shows up.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th. It's like, yeah, he's Kevin Bacon. And he just gets an arrow through his throat.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah,
There's
exactly.
none of that here. So there's not even that type of appeal.
Mhm.
So yes, I think sadly, no.
Yeah.
I just think it's sort of like, hey, if you're bored, you want to watch this movie.
You know, it's fascinating knowing that it's John Hughes somewhere maybe in there, you know, and seeing Anthony Kiedis' dad be in a movie, you know, just if you're looking for genuinely good horror comedies, then you better skip it. But if you're just like, it's so bad, it's interesting, and I've got to know how bad it is, watch it once and then move on with your life.
Yeah. I think it's more flat than it is god-awful bad that
Yeah.
makes it legendary.
Yeah.
So if someone were to ask you what your elevator pitch is about what this movie is about, what would you say?
Okay. I put some thought into this. Okay, here's what I would say. I actually wrote it down. It's like if Animal House tried to crash the slasher craze, but instead of being funny or scary, it wandered around the party in a bad mask. Think Halloween meets Saturday Night Live sketch with Chuck Berry performing for no reason.
Yeah, that's about it.
I felt like that kind of captured it all.
No, that's pretty great. I think my answer would be, I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about that.
If you had a time machine and you were forced to go back to 1980 and spend one extra day of additional shooting for this movie, what would you add?
Okay, I had to think about this one.
You even have a 16-hour day.
Okay. Oh, good. I think I would film some actual horror scenes and sequences.
Yep.
I would actually put some horror in there to try to balance out the comedy at the beginning. It just had zero actual horror in it. Zero. No jump scares, no nothing. What would you do? What would you do with an extra day of shooting?
Extra day of shooting, I would commit more to the comedy. Because I think with a film like this that is already, the needle is already leaning more towards comedy. You've already got enough of a horror vibe to it to say, see what we're doing? We're doing a horror spoof. But this is going to be a really funny horror spoof.
I see.
Pepper it with a bunch more jokes, a bunch more just strange non sequiturs, just like odd things.
How about you do your day of shooting with the comedy, I'll do my day of shooting with the horror, and we'll re-edit it and see how it goes.
We either need one time machine that will allow 2 trips, or we need 2 time machines. Yeah, so that's it. That's National Lampoon's Class Reunion. I wish it had been even moderately as enjoyable as it was when I was a kid, but unfortunately it was not.
Yeah.
That's episode 1.
We did it.
We did it. Now the big question is, do you want to continue, or is this scarred you so badly that you cannot continue and that you're going to retire and spend more time with the family?
Oh, I can't wait to continue. We got to keep going.
I promise you, next week we will have a film that lands the horror better and lands the comedy better.
Ooh, I'm excited.
It's a low bar.
That's a low bar.
After what we just witnessed, it's a very low bar, but next week's selection will get this taste out of our mouths.
I can't wait. What is it?
I can't tell you.
Damn
I
it.
can't tell you who our guest will be next week either. But starting next week, we will have a special guest in every episode to sit down with us and chat and discuss these movies.
I love it. It was fun, Bart, Shannon.
It was Lindsey. And yeah, let's do it again.
Sounds good. Thank you, dear.
All music for this podcast is provided by MKE. To hear more of his music, visit his band's website at detectivemusic.com and Detective on Spotify.